We've been trying to build compost systems that are rat proof, and so far we've failed. How do we know? Because we've seen and found rats in the system. So today we want to talk a bit about what the failure modes are, why the systems are failing, and then we're going to design a system that will be better and hopefully won't have rats in them. So this is a system that got a rat in it. We're going to show you it got a little hole chewed up at the top here. Not sure how the rat got up. Maybe it climbed onto these branches and then chewed a little hole. And then a few days ago when we opened it up, we found the rat on the inside. Another sign of rats is when you see holes that are dug inside your compost. So we found some holes in here and the chewed sides, and we saw the rat inside. Why do you want to keep rats out of your compost? You really don't want to create a rat problem. They love to eat the food that you put in the compost. The population grows. They can create problems for your cars. They'll get under your hood and eat up your electrical wiring, get in your house, eat your insulation. So really want to keep the rats out of here. But they really like to live in compost systems because it's full of food and it's nice and warm, and often it's dry and cozy. So let's take a look at some of the evidence of rats getting into our compost systems. So this is an example of a rat getting into our system. You can see it chewed a hole in here. Not sure how it got up here, but it did. And then it was living on the inside. This is a failure mode that we often see. I'm going to show you some other examples. So in our next design, we're actually going to be putting metal wiring around here. They often chew at the sort of the intersection between these connected pieces. So this is a thing we're going to try to fix in the next design. This is another failed design. This is a pellet system. It was a really great idea because pellets are cheap and easily available. They're basically free. So the idea was to try to use a pellet system and then rat proof it. The reason this fails is because these pellets are never quite straight, and it's very hard to actually wrap the wire around it in a way that doesn't leave any holes. So if you come and look down here, and a rat will easily get through a hole like this. A rat will also get through a little hole like this. And it's just going to be impossible to really rat-proof a pellet system. This one also got rats on the inside. I want to show you the evidence for that. We didn't see a rat directly in here, but if you look at the back, another sign of rat infiltration is little black droppings. And if you see little black droppings, it's either mice or rats. Another sign of rat infiltration are little tunnels in your compost, because they love to burrow down and they live in here. So down over here, we're showing you, let's see where, there is the tunnel. And I'm pretty sure there's a rat living in there somewhere. This is a tumbler. We haven't found rats in this one. Obviously this is a commercial one that we bought. It's a really nice system. It's made great compost. It hasn't had any rats in it because they have a hard time getting up and chewing through this. But we want to build DIY systems that are cheap. We also, not a big fan of plastic. I'll show you some photos of rats chewing through plastic. And yeah, they can easily chew through plastic like this. So even though this has been successful, we're still looking for alternative designs. This system is also kind of hard to get the compost out of here. It's another downside of this. So the search for the perfect compost system continues. I'm going to show you another system that's failed. This is a double failure compost system. The compost system is on the inside. It's one that we designed to go in a garden bed directly. So the compost was supposed to go in here. It double failed because this had a bed cover, and the rat got through the bed cover and through the compost system. So this cover was supposed to keep the rats out, and clearly it didn't. How do we know? Because we opened it up and found a rat on the inside. So I'm going to take this cover off, and then we'll look at the compost system. I want to highlight the fact that it's quite hard to build rat-proof bed covers. So that's another topic that we'll be working on shortly. But in this case, the rat got in through these little holes on the side. This cover just clearly isn't very tight, and it got in. Another sign over here of rat infiltration is the chewing here. This chewing is rats trying to get into the system. But I'll show you how the system isn't tight, and you know, there's a hole here and there's holes just kind of everywhere. This system was supposed to be rat proof, at least that's how we designed it, which is why it's wrapped in this wire mesh. But it had a couple of failure modes. One is the wire mesh isn't really tight enough. You can see it's got all these holes in it, and that's a problem. Secondly, the lid isn't tight, and even if the lid were tight, if you come over here, you can see the rat actually chewed a hole through the wood. So the rat chewed a hole and easily got in here, and when we lifted this cover the other day, we found a little hole and a rat living in here, and we'll show you that video. We found in this system, there he is.
Ratatouille.
Yeah, there he goes. And this is how he got in. Put that down. Yeah, chewed a little hole in here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create lids and sides that have metal mesh on them to avoid them chewing these holes. So let's see if we can build a rat-proof compost system.